Hello, welcome to the 17th episode of the Financial Incline. I'm your host, John Bovard. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Yvan Demosthenes. Yvan is the CEO and founder of HamiltonDemo, which is a local executive search and recruiting firm. Yvan was originally born in Haiti before moving to New York and then eventually growing up in Lima, Ohio. Yvan attended the University of Cincinnati and got his MBA from Thomas More University. During our conversation, Yvan and I discuss his earliest memories of money. We also discuss what led to him wanting to launch his own staffing and recruiting firm. We talk about what are some of the skills that have made him successful, and currently what does the labor market look like with such a labor shortage out there, and how he is helping his clients to stay fully staffed. Lastly, we discuss what the goal is for his business and how he sees being a business owner and an entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Yvan. For those of you that are listening, I hope that you also subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast so we can help spread the word. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Yvan Demosthenes. So Yvan, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and to join me this morning.
Yeah, good morning, John. I am super excited to be with you on Zoom this morning.
Yes.
Well, true story.
Well, great. So yeah, Yvan, I always enjoy our time together. Volunteering our time with Thomas More on the Alumni Association, and getting to know you over these couple of years. So if you wouldn't mind sharing for those listening and those watching, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit of your background and kind of what led you to where you're at today, with starting and running HamiltonDemo and all that you do. If you wouldn't mind just kind of starting from, wherever you'd like to start from, but just giving a little bit of background about yourself.
Yeah. And John, let me also say before I dive into that, I've also appreciated and had a lot of fun getting to know you these past few years. We've been able to mix a little bit of pleasure with business and our nonprofit work and the alumni board that we both sit on. I remember planning the centennial, planning the centennial with the centennial with Dedlow for Thomas More University, and how that lunch meeting was a phenomenal lunch meeting. All those plates of food all over the table, and the story, it was fantastic. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, my friends. So starting off, I like to start my story by sharing with people that I was born in Haiti. A lot of people don't know that, but I think it kind of lets people know where I come from. So I was about 6 months old when I moved to the States with my parents, and that was in 1970, and lived in New York up until I was 10 years old. Then from there, my father came home one day and said he wanted to move our family. And then within like 2-3 months, we were living in Lima, Ohio, of all places. And for those that know, not only is Lima, Ohio, the home of the best fast food hamburger that you will ever have, Kewpie, but it's also the center of the world. The world revolves around Lima, Ohio. And again, those that know Lima will understand, and they'll agree. So from there, came to the University of Cincinnati for my freshman year. And from there, I thought I was going to go into some science or try to get into medical school. And then I had the opportunity to work with a friend who owned a chain of furniture stores. His family was in retail, selling furniture on both sides. So after graduation, he had his own furniture chain, and I worked with him. And quite frankly, John, my whole world it changed right before my eyes, literally, because I had no concept of sales, and just watching the sales behavior of clients and the whole process just blew my mind. I should say that my father's a psychiatrist, so I kind of saw some of the things that I saw growing up within a showroom floor, right? The behavior, how to approach people, how to close. So I was just blown away by the whole thing. And from there, I had the chance to work at General Electric, and the rest is history as it pertains to being a salesperson, because that's really how I identify myself even today. Right.
Right.
So I'm in my sales career, and about 20 years ago, I had the opportunity to work with Career Builder. And that was an interesting set of events where I was having dinner with a friend. And as we were talking, she mentioned how she was getting ready to go work for Procter & Gamble with a new division. And she thought that I would be great for Career Builder. And at the time, I didn't know, there wasn't a great understanding of job boards at the time, especially on my side. But she said that she knew for a fact that there was a position open there because she had just given her 2 weeks that morning, and that she would love to share my resume with the manager, because she really thought a lot of the managers. So next thing you know, I'm having an interview with the manager a few days later, and the rest is history. So I started my career in recruiting and human capital with Career Builder. And then from there, I spent some time at Monster, also worked with a company called Professional Diversity Network, which focuses on attracting talent for enterprise companies and really all types of organizations, from people with cultural backgrounds, disabilities, LGBTQ, those in the military, and their family members, and more. And all through that, just learned a lot. And then through that process, one day I'm sitting having a cup of coffee with a buddy, and same old story. Next thing you know, somebody spawns an idea, pull out a napkin, write some things down, and literally that was our business plan. And we decided to go off on our own. And since then, my business partner has moved on, but HamiltonDemo stays here. We are 4.5 years as a company, and looking forward to getting our 5th year under our belt. Because in business school, I forgot to mention to your audience that I did get my MBA at Thomas More University, and that's where we're connected, right?
Right.
And while getting my MBA there, one of the things that we learned was, how startups fail after the first year, second year, third, et cetera. And really that 5-year mark is really where you're no longer a startup. You're actually a real company, that other people outside the company see as a long-standing company. So looking forward to crossing that 5-year mark at the end of the year.
Awesome.
And so far so good. We've had some challenges like everybody else who starts a new company, especially in the midst of a pandemic. But I'm proud to say that through that time, we've acquired some really great clients that we're working with and doing some great things, and we've had some growth. So the future is bright for us.
Yes, that's fantastic. Congratulations on reaching that milestone. You're exactly right. I don't remember the exact stat, but I think it's something about 90% of businesses, of startups, that fail before that 5-year mark. So and
as I look back, I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, and tried some things here and there along the way, and in my 52 plus years, they didn't last long. So I don't even consider them really as true entities. But it's been instilled in me, and I think part of the failure, it's a little bit cliche-ish, but part of the failure gives you knowledge to be better, right?
Great experience. Yes.
Great experience.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. I appreciate you sharing, that you started your business. Was there any, any sort of calluses or anything that, sparked you to say, okay, now is the time, and this is why I'm starting HamiltonDemo? Was there any, what kind of led you to that, or what is your, kind of your why behind starting it?
Yeah, at the time, if I look back, yeah, there are a bunch of whys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, just at the time, there wasn't one thing necessarily. There was just a bunch of little things. And, as I reflect, my memory kind of changes my perspective on things a lot. If you ask me a year from now, I may give you a different answer, but
right. I hear you.
Yeah, looking back, it just, it was like things just made sense. And, I wasn't getting any younger.
Right.
If I was going to do it, it was now or never. And I will say this, though, the one thing that really helped me take the leap, because I've got a family, and when you get older, you become more conservative.
Mm-hmm.
But through the years, I had attained a lot of friends, family, and former clients who came to me asking for help. And so, kind of like a home business, my home business was growing, year after year. 15 years ago, when I helped the first person, I did it for free. And then, as it started getting more and more, hey, I'll invoice you, no problem. And, pay it if you can. From there, then, there was a consistent stream of income coming in. So I think that really played a huge part in my decision to go out on my own more than anything. So knowing that I could count on what was coming in and forecast that to take care of any and all obligations that I had was really probably the one biggest thing that gave me the courage to take the leap.
Yes. Yeah. That's fantastic. And that kind of leads right into, something else I wanted to ask you about. And, you'd mentioned things like you're entrepreneurial and obviously, helping others and kind of growing that network. But as you look back throughout your career, whether that be with GE or Career Builder, what qualities you think you picked up? What qualities and skills did you pick up throughout your career that has led to, HamiltonDemo being successful in approaching your 5-year mark? What sort of skills and attributes did you, gather and hone in on throughout your career that led to your success now?
Yeah, well, John, you and I have touched on this actually pretty recently, right? It's like you can't do everything. So I've learned that my strengths are things that I can really rely on, and I can leverage my strengths for a lot of things. So, just knowing what I can do is probably the best thing. I know what I can't do, or what I'm not great at is probably even better. So the things that I'm not great at, yeah, maybe I can do them once or twice, but it's probably better to find others to help me with that.
Right.
I will say too, I had 2 phenomenal parents. Gosh, they were my father, who's 81 years old. He's a machine. He still wakes up every morning and goes to work. And from as early of an age as I can think of, he would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and be out the door. If he didn't have anywhere to go, he'd pull a book out and read for a couple hours before he went out with a cup of coffee. My mom, the same way. She was, she was not only supportive, but yeah, she was running my dad's office, and she was out the door whenever needed. So had great examples.
Yes.
And being a salesperson, I think it teaches you, if you're going to succeed, you're probably going to have to have some thick skin. You're going to have to be resilient, right? You're going to have some perseverance, because it's not always just a straight line to success. There's some bumps in the road. And even with your best clients, things don't happen overnight. Right. You've got to plan, you've got to research, You have to navigate. Timing is important. So all those things I think are really important and what has helped me. And, being open to continuing to learn, because I feel like I know a lot, but I'm still picking up things and learning things about the space and the industry. And gosh, who would have thought the pandemic would have been here? We've got a whole series of new things that we're dealing with that we didn't have to deal with 5 years ago.
Right.
So
Correct.
yeah, so that all comes together with just being resilient. And I've learned to be pleasantly persistent with clients and potential clients. Again, I think once they get to know me, they understand my approach. I'm not just somebody who's always knocking on their door and calling them on the phone. And that pleasant persistence pays off.
Yes. Yeah. Well, great. And you mentioned things, like the pandemic that we've all been in here for, over 2 years now. So what are some of the current challenges that you're facing? So as a business owner, what are you seeing, or what are some of your biggest challenges?
Yeah. So, a lot like other companies, right? I deal in human capital and bringing that human capital to companies. So I am primarily focused on B2B business. So I approach businesses for their needs, and then they will come to me, and I will provide executive search, professional placement for their organizations. I can even do hourly work. So finding that, and the landscape's very competitive. So that's challenging in itself. I like to think that the companies that I work for are great companies to be with, right? If I wasn't doing what I would do, what I'm doing now, I would consider any of the companies that I've worked for in the past 5 years as a potential organization to be part of and build my career. So that makes it really easy for me to be a cheerleader. But you know what? There's obstacles such as pay. There's obstacles such as location. Everybody now wants to work remote or have a hybrid type of role where, I've been working remote and hybrid for, almost 15 years now. And nobody ever wanted to work remote 15 years ago, but it is what it is.
Right.
So there's definitely the landscape in the industry. Also, just the general mindset of candidates it's different. It's changed. I mentioned the remote piece, but candidates are really in the driver's seat in a lot of ways. And as I'm getting older, candidates are getting younger. And so with that, there's a lot of generational things. I'll share with you just a little bit of humor here.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, in the past 5 years, even I've changed my mindset, because a lot of the younger generation, especially the candidates that I kind of fall upon, or they reach out to me, and then when I try to reach back to them, they insist on me texting them rather than a phone call. And I've got to say, 5 years ago, I would have crossed them off my list, but I've had to grow and learn. Can't quite do that. Now I engage with the message that, hey, this is basic information. I'd like to share more with you, but we're going to need to do that at the very least over the phone. I can't just text you for 3 days and then forward you to a client.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Different things like that. So just the generational differences is definitely something that's new, and I've had to kind of change my mindset and learn to have a different approach.
Right. Yeah. And And that's great. Have you seen and have you kind of felt, obviously it's, you read about it, you hear about it, either job openings or people leaving their job, and some people calling it the great resignation, right? The people leaving. Have you seen that to be the trend? Are people, leaving their jobs, starting new jobs as frantically as the news seems to make it seem like?
Yeah. So, John, I think the Great Resignation is huge, right? It's touching a lot of people directly, indirectly. So the last, I'd say, year, as as far as as far as my perspective is, it goes a little deeper. Now, does that resignation really mean what you and I know as resignation? I don't think so.
Mhm.
Starting to learn that. And then when you couple that, and I don't have any studies to identify this yet, but maybe one day we can come back and talk more about it.
Yeah.
But there are these side hustles that people have been doing for years now, right?
Right.
Where they can do these businesses, whether it's Amazon, whether it's doing something, providing some service where someone just sends them some money through an app, whatever it is, and now they've got a different source of income. So this is a different mentality than our parents who were working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and solely relied on one source of income to provide for their family. So, the boss that was a jerk, maybe they had to suck it up a little bit more because they didn't have that extra income coming in for a month or two so they could find another job.
Right.
What was the name of the movie? Take This Job and Shove It,
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh yeah, look it up. That's a classic.
Yeah.
Take This Job and Shove It. There was actually a song that went along with it that was a big hit at the time. So gosh, I'm showing my age. But yeah, that was the dream back then, to tell somebody that. So I think the resignation, the Great Resignation, has a lot to do with that, because it's not the resignation that you and I would define or that we know, but it does maybe allow a lot of people to pick and choose what they want and
Right.
take their time. So they are taking months off, maybe a year or two off, to reassess, and quite frankly, maybe even grow that side hustle,
Right.
to different levels. So I think as things change, and so those are entrepreneurs too, right?
Right.
So
Right.
as we see how these things develop, how those new side hustles and services that are being provided in the marketplace take shape and integrate into our commerce, our global commerce, I think we'll have a better idea of how that looks, for not only our country but commerce in general.
Yes. Right. I agree. So yeah, that's great insight as far as, kind of what you're seeing now, and like you said, kind of the changes in the landscape of recruiting and hiring. I definitely appreciate that. So I've started a business, you've started a business, and one of the things that I always think about is, we don't have a ton of resources, but we've got to be resourceful, right? So what are some of the resources that you use that help you in running and growing and operating your business, whether that be books, podcasts, mastermind groups, networking? What are some of the resources that have helped you?
Yeah. So, John, you're absolutely right. I think starting off, you really need to be resourceful. As I shared, I had this pipeline of clients that are friends and family and former clients that relied on me, that I have a relationship with, really helped me get here.
Yeah.
But truly, if looking back, that's probably one of the opportunities I would say, I could have, things would have made things a little bit better, even without knowing that a pandemic was on the horizon, is you probably, whatever money you need,
Mm-hmm.
you probably need 2 or 3 times more. Right.
Right.
So that resourcefulness and learning how to make the best out of what you have, or even attain a benchmark that's sustainable, so that you can grow from whatever that may be, whether it's in your operations, level of service, activity, etc. The resourcefulness is key. So I will say social media has been huge, and we're doing a podcast now, and that's really helped me get the word out about HamiltonDemo. It's helped me have a vehicle to market. It always amazes me, whether I go to church or I'm traveling, I'm seeing old friends. Every once in a while, somebody will say, "Hey, I saw your podcast." I'm like, "Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing." Yeah. And, so the social media aspect has been huge for us, and using that to its fullest has been helpful. Now, also integrating some technology has been a challenge, actually. So I'm a huge proponent of Salesforce and other technology, and quite frankly, when you're ramping up, you try to leverage it as much as possible. But others that we've had people come and go, and it's been difficult for them to adopt and utilize and leverage that as much as possible as well. Yeah. So, those are some tools that definitely help, some things that I'm comfortable with, that I know how to maximize the potential. Has been great.
Well, good. So you mentioned money, and being that this is somewhat of a financial podcast, I do want to ask you kind of a 2-part question. One of them is, what is your earliest memory of money? And then the second part is, as you're going through your career and launching a business and running it, what role has money played? Is that, are you striving to make as much money as you can? Is it a tool? So 2-part question there, and if I'm throwing you a little bit of a curveball, I apologize. But what's some of your, like you said, growing up in Lima, Ohio, coming here at the age of 4 and to New York and things like that? What's sort of your earliest memory, and then how do you think that has sort of shaped the role that money has played in your life?
Oh, that is a great question, John. I'm some memories have popped in my head. So my very first memories of money. Number one, my grandmother, who hasn't been with us for, close to 40 years. But she would love to pull out her purse when all of her grandkids were around and start giving everybody money. And she would give people like $3, $5. Every time when it came to me, she gave me a $20 bill. And man, I would just I would throw that in everybody's face and start doing the grandma dance and give her a big hug, kiss, and oh my gosh. So that lasted as long as she was, as long as she was active. But yeah, that was a great memory. And looking back, maybe my cousins didn't like me as much as I thought they did. So I hope they don't see this. It might bring back bad memories for them. Right. But that was awesome. And then also my first communion, I remember. So how old was I? Like 8 years old, and I remember being in a blue suit. My parents had a big house party. Right. People were coming, and they were all coming with cards. And I kept on opening the cards, and there'd be cash in there. I'm like, wow. Yeah. This is awesome. And I just take it and just throw it to my parents. The next card, take it, throw it to my parents. So and then as I got older, I started, making like big boy money.
Yeah.
I'll just say, like, grown-up money.
Right.
And I remember taking my mom to the waterfront, Jeff Ruby's waterfront.
Right.
And it's like, hey, just being there at the Big Shot with my mom, and say, hey, whatever you want on the menu. That was a lot of fun too. So
That's
those
awesome.
are my earliest memories of money.
Mm-hmm. Well, great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And just to wrap up here, obviously you started the business, you're approaching the 5-year mark. What would you say is, the goal for your business? Is it to, grow it as much as you can? Is it to eventually have an exit? Is it to pass on to your kids, bring them into the business? What is sort of, driving your motivation behind it, and what is the end all? What's the goal for your business?
Well, hey, John, that's a great question. So let me just say this as you were asking me that question. They should bring Jeff Ruby should bring back the waterfront if at all possible.
I agree.
And then I remember the awesome memories there. That
yes,
the world needs the waterfront.
Right. So from where I'm sitting, which I'm in the Scripps Tower, I'm on 3rd Street. I'm looking right now at right where the waterfront used to be. I mean, I'm like looking. I would turn the screen around, but I'm looking at it right now. Where it used to be. It's
amazing. Sorry, I'll answer your question, but I've got memories of Bobby Huggins standing there next to me, and we're toasting each other in the nightclub. I have memories of sitting in the dining room, watching football players come in and bend in to see the brandy that's in the chest and pick cigars. I've got images of these river yachts coming up and down the river, parking their yachts there. Oh my gosh, great stuff. And the food, like whatever. So yeah, Jeff Ruby, please bring back the waterfront.
Yes.
So great question. I will tell you that, I'm focused on 5 years, but I'm actually 100% thinking about the future. And I should say what I am focused on is a very general approach. I think what I want the most out of all those things that you shared is to keep myself in a position where I continue to have opportunities. So do I want to exit? Maybe. Do I want to grow the business and acquire other entities? Maybe. Do I want to go into an international strategy because I've got clients that are international? Do I want to maybe? So I think what I want to do, bringing in new services, et cetera, is make sure going to that year 5 and then year 7, year 9, year 10, that each step of the way, I'm keeping myself open to any and all possibilities that may be available to me. I think the pandemic has taught me that you can't really rely on things being the same one day to the next.
Correct.
Right? So what's good now may not be optimal tomorrow. And more importantly, the opportunities, if there may be opportunities that I'm not even aware of right now, that I have no idea that I want to take advantage of. So that is really my mindset right now, to continue growing, to allow me to take advantage of whatever opportunity I see out there to make HamiltonDemo better.
Yes, that is great. That is great. And you're exactly right. I mean, that one of the things the pandemic taught me, similar to that, is you got to be able to adapt, right? I mean,
yes,
things change, your circumstances change, the market changes. How can you adapt? And like you said, take advantage of opportunities. Look for things as opportunities, right? Because you've constantly got to be adapting and evolving your business to keep up with the market or your competition or whoever that might be. So
yeah, definitely. So the future's bright, and I'm I'm excited to see what it brings to us.
Yes. Well, good. Well, good. So Ivan, if there's people watching this, listening to this, where can they connect with you at? Where should we direct them to?
Yeah. So HamiltonDemo.com, again, www.HamiltonDemo.com. And my phone number is 513-257-9683. It is also on the website. Feel free to email me as well. I've had a lot of people roll their eyes when I share my cell phone number on a podcast, but hey, I've had the same number for 22 years. I've had a chance to speak to a lot of people from all over the world. So hey, always feel free. Always happy to have conversations and dialogue around any and all of your anyone's human capital, recruiting, onboarding, etc. We also do projects. So if it's a new location where you're opening up a new site, to looking for a C-suite individual executive, to professional role, to administration, we're excited to talk to you about any of those things. And you can also find us on LinkedIn. I'd ask your viewers to go on to LinkedIn, and as well the other social media sites, but especially whatever is comfortable to them, go out and like us and follow us.
Yes. Well, fantastic. Make sure to do that. And it's a great follow. I do, watch your podcast as well, your interviews, your videos, and it's good to see, and keep up the great work there with getting that content out.
Yeah, John, thank you so much. This was a pleasure. Let's do this again, and we can.
Yes, I know there's so much more I could have covered with you, but we'll wrap it here, and look forward to speaking with again in the future.